Hi everyone. Hi, it's nice to see some familiar names popping in. We'll just give everybody a couple of minutes just to filter through. While we're waiting, just to let you know, we are recording this meeting. Just really for internal use, and we might end up sharing it on our social pages as well. So if everybody's okay with that, as I say, your identities are completely confidential and anonymized. Just to start with some introductions. So some of you already know me. My name's Kate Murray, so I am the CEO and one of the co-founders of Ubrix. We, as a team, have been working on Ubrix for quite some time. We're just launching the new UI of the system. As a team, we have worked in prop tech for a number of years. Some of the team have also worked for the likes of Homes England and other major developers as well. We have come together to create a system that I'll go into more detail about. But first, Mike, I think if you could introduce yourself as well, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Mike Ridley. I'm Sales Director at Ubrix. It's a really exciting time here as we take the product to market. It's about driving that efficiencies and that improved experience for house builders and their customers. We really think we can show you some good functionality today. That's really going to make your lives better and make your customers' lives better as well. Ultimately, though, we want to know you guys, so please reach out to us so we can have a one-to-one and really understand what your situation is and how we can help. And we look forward to talking to all of you.
Absolutely, yeah. We've already had some really meaningful conversations during the development phase, and we continue to have these conversations with builders on a day-to-day. In terms of how we've kind of got to this point, so we've listened to buyers, we've listened to builders, contractors, and industry experts to come together with the main pay points that are in the sector as it stands, just to make sure that we are actually building something that the sector needs. So instead of it just being a tick box exercise and sticking with what's already out there, we're kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit. We want to be different, we want to be disruptive, and that's where we are today. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this with everyone. So in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to show you how Ubrix cuts admin, cuts costs, and improves customer experience, and really pays for itself. So we're going to go through a fair bit, and we're going to focus on the admin platform today. But as Mike says, absolutely reach out if you'd like a more personalised one-to-one session. Then we're more than happy to showcase that for you on a more private setting as well. So what I'm going to do then is I'll share my screen with you. As I say, this is a really quick fly through, so we'll not be able to kind of touch on absolutely everything, but you guys should get a really good feel for the system, how easy it is to use, all of the functionality that we have within the system as well. We will be taking some Q&As at the end, so if anybody does have any questions, please let us know, and we'll fire those off at the end. Okie dokie. So I shall share my screen now. Right, so this is the Ubrix dashboard. You can see that we have a very comprehensive overview of everything that is going on with the developments, the plots, the buyers, and your team. So you can see on this particular account, we have 3 active developments. We've got 70 total plots. We've currently got 1 open defect, that's the dream, and we've got the SLA compliance there. So currently that's at 0 just because this is a new account, it's fresh, just for the purposes of the webinar. We've got a nice chart there that really quickly shows you how many defects have been opened versus closed on a monthly basis, but you can also edit that just to showcase the metrics that you need to see at a glance. You can clearly see here that we've also got the team tasks and your individual tasks as well. So what's really quite nice about this system for you is that it joins all of the stages together. So we're not just focusing on aftercare, we're not just focusing on sales, we're not just focusing on the build, we bring it all together. Nobody likes siloed systems. You want your data to just be in one place and not necessarily have to go anywhere else. And this is the purpose of this. So you'll see that we've got some sales information in the tasks as well, which we'll touch on in a moment. Within the recent activity as well, we've got some automated task generation there also, just to save your team from having to rely on memory and manually populated tasks. So we rely on AI and automation to create those, and I'll show you how that works through the call. The idea being is that we want to try and reduce the amount of manual population that you're having to do on a day-to-day. So if we move across here, we'll just start at development. It seems like the most natural place to start. Now, what you'll notice is we have brochure analysis on the left-hand side, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But first, with the developments, what you'll see is you've got your development name, you've got the location, the status, and you can go in and view the status of that particular development as and when you need. You can upload a specific logo, and when we're talking about the buyer experience, that can also then be translated across to the buyer app. So we have a series of apps as well, the buyer app being one of them. And that's where you can really be as transparent as you want with your buyers. Customer experience is so important for any house builder. We want your customers to have a transparent experience when buying a home. You know, buying a home is probably the biggest investment somebody's going to make in their lifetime. So instead of your team having to constantly chase for updates and the buyers themselves having to call in to find out where their build is at, what we do here with Ubrix is it filters down. So any stage changes, any updates, it automatically tells the buyer where the plot is at, so they're kept informed at every moment. So you'll see that we've got things like the warranty information. Again, that would be transitioned across as well. You'll notice that we've got principal contractor here. So if you do work with a PC, then they can be assigned to a development as and when needed, so that you can share that information with them. And they'll be treated much like a contractor in the first instance if they're not a client of ours. So they'll receive the defects. They can send things through to you as well. On here, we've got contractors. So one of our big USPs is having the ability to create default contractors. Now, what you'll notice is we've got categories here, such as flooring, roofing, etc. You'll notice that some have contractors assigned to them and some don't. So really, that's a visual cue for your internal team to create those. So what we have are account suppliers, which is what you'll see down here. So when you on board with us, you will provide us with your supplier list, and we can quite quickly add those to the system. But further to that, as we know, not every development of yours is going to have the same contractors. So what we've built is the default contractors tool. And what that means is each development can have their own. So even to the most granular granularity, so we can have loft insulation, for example, roof tiles, etc. for roofing. So really what we're doing is we're trying to pinpoint the exact problem and who is responsible for that problem. Now, this in turn relates back to the customer app as well, the home buyer app. So when they've gone through the troubleshooting tool, which again I'll come on to in a moment, and if that problem isn't resolved at that point, it filters through, so you can automatically assign who is the correct person to resolve the job without having to manually filter through lists and lists of people. So it saves time and it saves money at the end of the day. Now we've already got a few assigned to this particular development, which is great. So I can quickly show you how that works in a second. If I create a defect very quickly, we'll add the defect. We've got the information here. We'll just select a random plot. We've got your priorities, and those can be assigned on account and development level as well. Typically, it's just accounts, so you'll have your low, your medium, your high, and your critical. And then we've got the categories, which is what we were just talking about here. So if we, for example, select an electrical fault, for example, internal lighting, we assign an owner. So we can assign ourselves if we've got other internal team members that could be responsible, for example, a site manager, we can assign it to them as well. And the status, we can change that. So, for example, if you are retrospectively adding this defect after it's already been resolved, then we can add it as that status as well. However, for now, this one is just awaiting delegation. Then we need to just select the room that it's in. So we'll just go bedroom. You can add a reference number if needs be. What we need to do with the description is be as descriptive as you possibly can. So just for the purposes of this, I'll be quick. Light broken in bedroom. And then this is at the point where you will add your imagery. So we'll go with that. Quite clearly, it's a broken light fitting. And now we've got the KPIs that will filter through here. So then if you report the defect, you can see that the defect has gone into the list. Now you'll notice here that we've got one that's awaiting appointment. So that means that it's already been delegated. We just need the appointment to be created. And then here we've got awaiting delegation. Now, if we want to do is send it off. So we've got the light broken in bedroom. We shall create the job. So we can, again, assign it to a team member. So it could be that the site manager is responsible for this, and that's absolutely fine. You just click this button and then you can select a user either by searching for them or just using the drop down. In this instance, we're going to send it to our default contractor, Wade Electrical, and we shall create the job. Now, unfortunately, on this webinar, we don't have enough time to go through the contractor side of it, but essentially what they have is an admin platform with reduced functionality, but enough functionality for them to manage their defects. And what will happen is, let's say Karen in the office, she will receive that defect and then delegate it out to the team accordingly. So they have that platform and that functionality as part of your subscription as well, just to make sure that everything is as collaborative as it can be. So once we've done that, we'll go back to the development and we'll look at this brochure analysis. Now, this is using AI to read your sales brochure. Now, as we all know, uploading reams and reams of information about your developments is very time consuming and can be expensive if you're paying somebody else to do that. So what we've done is we've created something that takes that pain away from you, that headache, and I shall show you how that works now. So what you'll see is this little dialog field here. So you will upload your property development brochure in a PDF. And the AI will analyze it to extract development information, house types, and plot details. So you don't have to do any of the heavy lifting. So if I just select a file here, we shall click on this one. We'll open it up. So you can see that it's been populated in the field, just using this one as an example. And we shall start analysis button. Now you can see that the status is pending and it might take a few minutes. So you might have some that are quite large files. That's fine. You can still go along with everything that you need to do. You don't have to sit and wait on this page. It'll just work in the background for you. But as you see, it is fairly quick. So before I've even finished, it's populated. Now, what you're seeing is all of the information that's been pulled out of that sales brochure. So it splits it into different phases. So the first is the development information. So you can see we've got the development name of Abbey Heights, we've got the town, we've got the warranty provider, the address and the postcode. We can see here the description of the development as well, and the confidence. So all that means is how confident the AI is that it's pulled out the correct information. So that's a really good score. So if we go to house types, we can just have a look and just do a quick check to make sure that it's pulled out the right information. So if we move along to the plots, what you can see is the amount of plots that are in this particular development. So it's created the plot, but it's also pulled in the house type as well. So again, it's something that you don't then have to retrospectively go back and have to do. And you can then as well add the price on top of it, which is great. So then if we create the entities, that's it, creating the developments there. Then we can see that it's been pulled into the developments list. So then when we view, we can see all of the information that we would have seen if we'd had to do it manually, but obviously it would have taken a lot longer than what it's taken here. So I know that's a really quick fly through of that feature. One of the things that we've been asking on previous demos is for house builders to bring their own sales brochures along. It's quite nice to see your own house, your own developments being populated into the system. So if anybody's interested in doing that, please do let us know. We'd love to showcase that for you. So moving on, what we've covered so far in terms of the development, the defect creation, we also have the snag list feature. I think that kind of speaks for itself. One of the things that we have looked at is bulk delegation. So instead of you having to create your snag list and then manually delegate out each time, we do have the feature to then bulk delegate. So for example, if you wanted to add an electrical issue and then you had to add a roofing issue, you add those snags into the list and then you delegate it out en masse rather than you having to do it individually, again, saving time and at the end of the day, money. You'll see here that we've got the tasks as well. So for example, if I want to create a sales reservation, you'll see tasks per plot as well as overall. So if I create a reservation here, we can select the development. So let's create one for the new development that we've created here. We'll create a purchase price of, I don't know, let's go $5.50. And the reservation fee, we've got the little prompt there. I think it's quite obvious what that will be for you. It's all personal, so we'll do 500. And then here, this is a really nice feature. So what we've done is we've pre-calculated the estimated dates just to try and take even more of that particular admin off the manual process. So if we say it's October the 1st, for the expiration, and then we're going to say just before Christmas, a nice time to move in for the estimated completion date, and then we click next. Now here we've got the buyer's selection. So one thing when we were way back when we were doing the information gathering phase, one thing that people did struggle with was that if you have a buyer that owns multiple properties that's on the system. So what we've done is we've actually created a database so it does search. And if they do have another property, it doesn't give you any information about who the property is with, just that they exist in the system. But for this purpose, what we'll do is just create a new one. So Sarah Wilson, and you populate the email address, phone number. So this is quite important. Our system also does text notifications as well. So whilst it's not a compulsory feature, I would say to add the phone number if possible within the mobile number field. and the address of the person. So we'll just do 1 Test Street and Test Town and postcode. Okay, and then we'll create the buyer. So you can see now that Sarah's in here as the buyer. And this is at the point where we're looking at the professional assignment. Now, you don't have to add this at this point in time, but this is what I was talking about in terms of the auto tasks. So if you don't add a mortgage advisor and you don't add a solicitor, what the system will automatically do is create those sales tasks for you without you having to lift a finger, just as a prompt for you to know that you have to do it. So if we create the reservation there, you can see that the sales reservations happened. And something that I haven't mentioned is the little notification bell. So you'll see here the tasks filtering in. So this is real time. So you're not having to rely on emails or a feed somewhere. This is personal to you. So you'll see little tasks that have popped in. It could be that a defect's been raised. It could be that plots have been created. And this is something that you can really work from just to make sure that you're covering everything off. The final thing that I'll show you, and as I say, I know it's been a really quick walk through, and thank you for your attention. But I'll just show you the reports feature that we've got here. Now, what we can do is really try and hammer into the granularity of the defects, the sales, whatever it is that you're responsible for. You can really quite get a really good feel for where you're performing. You can see that we've got defects by status, we've got defects by category here, and by plots by stage. So you can get a really good overview as to where your builds are at, and provide these reports to your board meetings, etc. And as I say, if you want us to show this in more detail, then that's absolutely fine, and we'd love to do that. So just looking at the time now, if that's flown over, I think in terms of what we'd quite like to do now is just to kind of see if we've got any questions that have come through, to see if we can answer any at this time.
Yeah, I think we've seen questions come through, Kate.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I think maybe just outline a few more of the USPs with Ubrix, that we really makes us stand out there and help people deliver a more efficient service.
Yeah, really great question. So in terms of the USPs, so I think I touched on a couple there. So we have automation, which is something that the sector hasn't really taken hold of yet. So some of the systems out there just really rely on manual processes, and that's something that we really wanted to solve. As you know, manual admin is the bane of everybody's life. It's quite repetitive, it's time consuming, but it's also costly to a business. So we really wanted to make sure that we included as much automation in as possible. So for example, the task creation, the automated delegation, and the brochure analysis, which also ties into AI as well, which is a feature that we're really excited about. Knowing from personal experience, it does take a long time to upload, and I'm sure you'll agree, Mike. It takes a long time to upload development information. And as I say, it's so easy to do it now. So instead of you having to pay for onboarding costs, which can be quite considerable at times, depending on the amount of data you have. That's something that anybody can learn to use. As I say, it happened within seconds. I hadn't even finished my sentence before all the plots had been uploaded into it. So that's a really exciting feature. The other USP that I'd like to mention is the proactive troubleshooting. So that is something that lives on the Buyer app. So we have consolidated hundreds of buyer collateral, so handover information, which, as everybody knows, traditionally comes in a huge binder about this big. You receive it, you get really excited about it, and then it gets chucked in a box and stuck in the garage and never seen again. I actually have one still in the garage. So what we wanted to do is to consolidate all of that information and empower buyers so that they only get the information when they need it. And we have FAQs as well, which can form part of that. But in terms of the proactive troubleshooting, the idea is if there's something that is not included in the aftercare period, or it is really easy to resolve. So if there's a boiler error, for example, and all you need to do is turn it off and on, then I'd much prefer to be able to do it that way as opposed to waiting a week for somebody to come and do it for me. So that's the idea behind that.
I think you've answered some of the other questions we had there as well, which was the the challenges of setting up the product and actually getting the data on board. But you've highlighted how easy and straightforward it is, and it really should be possible for anyone to set it up and get it going. You don't need that huge amount of professional services or huge amount of IT overhead. So that's really good. I think that's covered quite a few questions we had coming through. The only other thing I suppose was that integration piece. Do you integrate with other apps out there? People obviously have lots of systems and solutions they're already using. How does that work?
Yeah, so we were very conscious that we wanted to build this on an open AI. So our development team, that's their bread and butter. They build APIs for fun, which I'm sure sounds very dry to everybody else out there, including myself. But yeah, we've built it on an open AI, so we can integrate with anything as long as it has an API itself. So we can integrate with whatever tools you use, because at the end of the day, we don't want you to have this as a standalone system if you are using other things, accountancy software, for example.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, it is a really straightforward system and an advanced system as well. We know there's a lot of other products on the market that been around a while, people are using them, but maybe there's some gaps there, and that's where we're here to fill those gaps and really move things forward. So I think that from my perspective, it's really just saying to everyone, I hope that's been really helpful. And it's really about really understanding what your individual needs are now. So please reach out. We'd like to have a one-to-one conversation, understand how we can help, because we think there's lots of ways we can to make your processes more efficient and to actually reduce costs for you as well.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. It's been lovely to see the familiar names popping through. And as Mike says, feel free to get in touch. We can't wait to show you more. Take care. Bye.
Bye.